James Gunn's films are packed with unforgettable animal characters, but there's one trick he uses to make them steal the show every time. Curious what it is?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine a tortured raccoon, not a caped hero, becoming the soul of a billion-dollar franchise. Or a clumsy eagle, not a stoic warrior, teaching us what love really looks like. While other directors sculpt flawless superheroes, Gunn bets on the broken, the monstrous, and a certain chaotic superdog to carry his stories. Today we're diving into the secret formula behind these creatures, how they've powered Gunn's rise from scrappy horror flicks to ruling Hollywood's biggest blockbusters. Let's start with the obvious one, Rocket Raccoon. Now you might think Rocket works because he's funny, or because Bradley Cooper's voice acting is incredible.
I live for the simple things, like how much this is gonna hurt.
But that's missing the real genius here. Rocket isn't just a wisecracking space bandit. He's a walking, talking metaphor for trauma. Think about it. Rocket was literally created through torture. He's a product of cruel experimentation, and his entire personality, that aggressive, cynical exterior, is just his way of protecting himself from getting hurt again. Sound familiar? That's because Rocket is basically every person who's ever built walls around themselves after being betrayed. But here's where Gunn gets really clever. Instead of making Rocket's journey about becoming normal, it's about accepting who he is. When Rocket finally says,
"Name's Rocket. Rocket Raccoon."
It's not just character development, it's a masterclass in self-acceptance. Gunn took our deepest fears about being made wrong and turned them into a sarcastic, furry character we can't help but love. The genius is that Rocket never becomes fixed. He doesn't magically overcome his trauma and become a different person. Instead, he learns to carry his scars with dignity. He finds family despite his flaws, not because he's eliminated them. It's like Gunn looked at traditional character arcs and said, what if growth isn't about becoming perfect? What if it's about becoming whole? This pattern didn't start with Rocket. If you really want to understand Gunn's obsession with imperfect animals, you have to go back to 2002 and a movie that most people probably forgot he wrote.
Scooby-Doo! Where are you?
Scooby-Doo. The brilliance of Gunn's version of Scooby is that he's not your typical heroic cartoon dog. He's cowardly, food-obsessed, and bumbling. But, and this is key, he's also the emotional glue that holds Mystery Inc. together. When the gang breaks up, it's Scooby who becomes the catalyst for bringing them back together. This is Gunn's formula in its earliest form. Take an imperfect creature, make them the heart of the story, and watch as audiences connect with their flaws more than any perfect hero ever could. Believe it or not, Gunn originally wrote Scooby-Doo as an R-rated satire. The studio forced him to tone it down, but even in the family-friendly version, you can see his subversive instincts at work. Scooby isn't just comic relief. He's a character study in disguise. Think about those moments when Scooby tries to prove himself, like when he dresses up as a grandmother or accidentally solves part of the mystery. It's not just slapstick, it's a meditation on feeling inadequate and wanting to belong. Gunn was already exploring the themes that would later define Rocket's arc, just with a CGI Great Dane instead of a raccoon. Gunn's animal obsession goes way deeper than just making them lovable underdogs. These creatures are actually narrative engines that drive his entire plots forward. And I'm not talking about cute sidekick moments. I'm talking about fundamental story architecture. Take Sebastian the rat from the Suicide Squad. This isn't just Ratcatcher 2's cute pet. This little guy is literally the key to defeating the final boss. Sebastian represents the connection between Ratcatcher 2 and her dead father, and his rats are what ultimately bring down Starro the Conqueror. But here's what's really clever. Gunn uses other characters' reactions to Sebastian to chart their own emotional journeys. Bloodsport starts the movie disgusted by rats.
Don't calm down with the rats.
What?
I have a thing with rats.
You have a thing with rats?
Yes.
A phobia that seems random, until you realize it's about his inability to connect with anything vulnerable. By the end, when he's gently holding Sebastian, it's not just character growth. It's a complete emotional transformation visualized through his relationship with a rodent. This narrative centrality is even more pronounced in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. The entire movie exists because the team needs to save Rocket's life. Gunn built a $200 million blockbuster around the medical emergency of a talking raccoon. And it worked, because by that point, audiences cared more about Rocket than most human characters in the MCU. In the animated series Creature Commandos, Gunn presents what may be the pinnacle of his imperfect animal archetype, Weasel. First introduced in The Suicide Squad as a grotesque creature who supposedly killed 27 children, his backstory is revealed to be what Gunn himself calls the saddest thing I've ever written. And those 27 children he allegedly killed, he was actually trying to save them from a school fire. He befriended these neglected kids, tried to protect them during a tragedy, and when the police showed up, they shot him and blamed him for the whole thing. This is Gunn's formula at its peak. Weasel can't speak or defend himself, branded a child killer when he's really a victim of a tragic misunderstanding. It's like Gunn took every theme he'd explored with Rocket, the trauma, the prejudice, the inability to communicate pain, and cranked it up to 11. The genius move is how Gunn uses Weasel's PTSD to drive the plot forward. When Weasel sees Princess Alana, he associates her with one of the children he failed to save. His attack on Cersei to protect her isn't just random violence, it's trauma-driven heroism. He's literally willing to sacrifice everything to save someone who reminds him of his greatest failure. Gunn is basically a magician when it comes to emotional manipulation, and I mean that in the best way possible. He can shift between these tones within the same movie, sometimes within the same scene. He'll make you laugh at King Shark's antics, then punch you in the gut with Rocket's tragic backstory. It's like emotional whiplash, but somehow it works every single time. The secret is that he never betrays the emotional truth of the character. King Shark is genuinely innocent, so his comedy feels earned. Rocket is genuinely traumatized, so his pain hits differently. Weasel is genuinely misunderstood, so his tragedy feels authentic. Gunn doesn't use animals as cheap emotional buttons. He respects them as fully realized characters with their own internal logic. Take Eagly from Peacemaker. This bald eagle should be a symbol of American heroism, right? Instead, he's awkward, overly affectionate, and weirdly clumsy. But Gunn doesn't make him clumsy for cheap laughs. He makes him clumsy because real relationships are clumsy. When Eagly hugs Peacemaker, it's not just cute. It's a reminder that love is messy and imperfect, and sometimes involves getting your face grabbed by talons. Creating believable animal characters is ridiculously hard, and Gunn has some very specific rules about how he does it, rules that are as much about ethics as they are about storytelling. First rule: ethics matter. Gunn refuses to use real wild animals for complex scenes. Everything you see Rocket doing, that's pure CGI magic, created by studying real raccoons but never putting an actual raccoon through the stress of a film set. PETA literally gave him an award for his commitment to animal welfare. But it's also better for the storytelling. When you're not limited by what a real animal can do, you can push these characters into emotional territory that would be impossible otherwise. The collaboration process is fascinating. For Rocket, Sean Gunn performs the character on set, giving the other actors something to react to and providing the animators with emotional reference points. It's like method acting for CGI. The digital performance is built on top of a real human performance, creating layers of authenticity. Here's what's really impressive. Gunn's CGI animals feel more emotionally authentic than most human characters in big-budget movies. That's because he prioritizes the inner life of the character over technical perfection. The technology serves the story, not the other way around. Now, with his new Superman film, we've got the ultimate evolution of this archetype with Krypto. Krypto isn't just Superman's pet, he's his emotional anchor. In the opening scene, after Superman crash lands in Antarctica following a brutal fight, it's Krypto who rescues him, dragging the Man of Steel to safety through the snow. But Gunn's Krypto challenges everything we expect from Superman's dog. Instead of noble and heroic, he's mischievous and imperfect. He's got a yellow collar and a red cape, sure, but he's also got the personality of a rescue dog who's been through trauma. Based on Gunn's own rescue dog, Ozu, who came from a traumatic hoarding situation, when Krypto licks Superman's face in the Fortress of Solitude, or when he helps defeat Lex Luthor's raptors in the final battle, it's not just action, it's therapy. From critics to fans, Gunn's animal characters are consistently ranked among the most beloved in their respective franchises. Rocket Raccoon is regularly cited as one of the best characters in the entire MCU. King Shark became an instant fan favorite after just one movie. Even Scooby-Doo has developed a cult following, specifically because of how Gunn wrote him. But here's the real kicker. These characters work across demographics. Kids love them because they're cute and funny. Adults love them because they're emotionally complex. Film nerds love them because they're technically innovative. It's like Gunn cracked the code for universal appeal. The secret sauce is relatability. We all feel like outsiders sometimes. We all have flaws we're trying to overcome. We all want to belong to a family, even if that family is made up of other misfits. Gunn's animals succeed because they're not really animals. They're mirrors reflecting our own struggles back at us, just with more fur and fewer human hang-ups. Take the fan response to Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. People weren't just sad about Rocket's backstory, they were devastated. Grown adults were crying in theaters over a CGI raccoon's childhood trauma. That's not just good filmmaking, that's emotional alchemy. Gunn has proven that audiences don't want perfect heroes. They want flawed, struggling characters who grow and change and sometimes fail spectacularly. Whether it's a genetically modified raccoon working through his trauma, a cowardly dog who saves the day despite his fears, a monstrous creature blamed for crimes he didn't commit, or a mischievous superdog who drags Superman through the snow, these characters work because they're honest about their imperfections. This is what makes Gunn stand out among blockbuster directors. He prioritizes emotion over flashy technique. Every close-up on Rocket's eyes, every awkward moment with Eagly, every from King Shark, every heartbreaking flashback with Weasel. It's all in service of making us care about these characters as living, breathing beings. The influence is already spreading. Other filmmakers are starting to realize that audiences will invest in animal characters if you treat them with respect and complexity. But most of them are still playing catch-up to what Gunn figured out 2 decades ago with a talking Great Dane. The real lesson here isn't just about animal characters. It's about what makes any character compelling. Gunn's secret weapon isn't CGI or star power. It's emotional authenticity wrapped in fur, feathers, and the occasional cape. And that's why his imperfect animals will keep stealing scenes and breaking hearts for years to come. So here is your challenge. Go back and watch these films again. When you rewatch The Suicide Squad, don't just look at Bloodsport. Watch his entire emotional arc through his reaction to a rat named Sebastian. When you watch Guardians 3, see it not as a space opera, but as a rescue mission for a single, traumatized soul. And when you walk into the theater for Superman, look past the man in the cape and pay attention to his mischievous dog. Find the hidden heart in these stories, the way Gunn writes them, and you'll see movies differently, not just as entertainment, but as masterclasses in feeling. Drop your thoughts in the comments, and while you're there, hit that like and subscribe button as we put cinema on trial.